Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Mulenge Speaks series. Today is another one of those times that we have to speak clearly and truthfully about Mulenge, the true Mulenge, not the Mulenge that is spreading around on social media by the Banyarwanda. So we are continuing our clip number 20, but today we'll touch subgroup B. So we'll talk about video 20B. And after reviewing the content, I believe we're gonna go to, won't be able to finish today the law of 1972. So we'll only speak about the law 1971 that Mobutu enacted. And so we continue with Mobutu syndrome, which we said that was that idea that the problem that the Banyarwanda or the people from Rwanda that are living in Congo today, namely the Batusi and the Bahutu, is the problem that Mobutu caused. Or if it is no Mobutu, it is other people, either the international community or the indigenous people, the Bavira, the Bafuliru, the Babembe, the Bashi, and Banyindu and Barega. But we saw from previous clips that it is not true, and that's what we are trying to here demonstrate or prove that Mobutu had nothing to do. And Mobutu is even someone to applaud because he was helping the nationals of Burundi and Rwanda who were living in the Congo at that time. And so we have to keep in mind that the law that Mobutu enacted in 1971 came after the Congolese Roundtable of January to February 1960, and then that law also came after the Constitution of Luabo, which was signed and promulgated in August 1964. And the problem, I believe that if that law did not leave out the nationals or the ressortissants of Rwanda were only out, I don't believe that Mobutu would have signed the law of 1971, because in fact that law come to respond or come to include the national of Rwanda Burundi into the civil life of the Congo. And so we saw how the resolution 11 of the Congolese Roundtable left out or separated the national of Rwanda Burundi from politically being effective or being involved in the affairs of the Congo, because they did not want them to become eligible, but they asked them to vote their representative in the places where they were living, but they did not allow them to become candidate. And so the reason they left them is because they were not Congolese in the first place. And when the 1964 constitution were passed, also they wanted to include the population or the Banyarwanda who were living in the DRC at that time. And always keep in mind, when I talk about Banyarwanda, I mean the Batusi and the Bahutu today, because during the pre-colonial and the colonial time, there was no Tutsi or Hutu who were claiming some right, some separate right. All of them were either Barundi or Banyarwanda. And so in this context, in 1920, 30, 40, 50, 60, even 71, when Mobutu enacted that law, all the population were considered one tribe, one population. Either you were Munyarwanda or you were Murundi. And so that was the purpose of that sub-line or paragraph 2 of Article 6 of the Constitution of August 1964, to help the Banyarwanda now come and be part of the Congolese society. But the requirement was that they have to apply fill the application of citizenship. But here is the catch. During that time, between 60 to 66 or 70, one person comes on interdescent here, and convince Mobutu that it will be impossible. It will be difficult to include or to for the population of the thousands of Banyarwanda that are living already in Congo to register individually. And this person was Barthélemy Bisengimana. Barthélemy Bisengimana was the chief of staff of Mobutu. But he was a Mnyarwanda who was born in Cyangugu, the eastern province of Rwanda today. And we know that this province of Cyangugu has a limitation, has a border with the South Kivu province. But when he came to Congo, he got that opportunity to become chief of staff of Mobutu, and he convinced him that it was difficult for all the thousands of Banyarwanda living in Congo to register individually. And so Mobutu enacted this law of 1971 just to help those Banyarwanda become Congolese. And so when he enacted it, we understood that, and we understand also that the Banyarwanda became Congolese based on that particular one sentence, which read, let's see what it read here, what the law said. The law said persons from Rwanda were only established in Congo by June 60 are reputed to have acquired the Congolese nationality from this date. I'll repeat that sentence again, that law. Law 71-020 of March 26, 1971 stated, I quote, persons from Rwanda were only established in Congo by June 1960 are reputed to have acquired the Congolese nationality from this date. That means any Munyarwanda, any national of Rwanda, Urundi, or Rwanda, who was in Congo by June 60, that means regardless the date that he or she have been in Congo, or in the Free State, in the Congo Free State, or in the Belgium Congo, and now in the Congo, regardless the time that person came, that person now, based on this law, had acquired the Congolese nationality or citizenship. But the law did not say that those who were before 1960 or came by 1960 became Congolese of origin. But they became Congolese citizens. That means they acquired a civic citizenship, not ethnic citizenship, because the ethnic citizenship was reserved for those population of territory who constituted the Congo Free State. Remember those treaties that Henry Morton Stanley signed with the local leaders? Because those local leaders were chief of kingdom. They were like the president of today, the president of republics, or president of states, which at that time they were called traditional states or traditional principalities. But because they came to Congo as individuals, Al Newbury and George West and Jacques de Pelchin as stated and attested, they came as individual families. They were still members or subject of the kings of Rwanda and Burundi. But here, Mobutu is telling them now, because you have been in this country, now we are giving you the opportunity to become Congolese citizen. But still, the Banyarwanda that are claiming today that they are from Mulenge, if you hear them on the social media, on the TV, in their books, when they go and knock at the doors of head of states and congressmen and congresswomen, telling them that they are from Mulenge, and now they become a tribe. But we have to understand that they were not tribe at that time, because there was no Tutsi tribe, there was no Hutu tribe before 1960. Even if we go before 1881, there was no Tutsi tribe. All of them, they were called Banyarwanda because they were subject of the king of Rwanda. That's the reason, and that's the only reason Mobutu enacted this law to bring into the fold, to bring the Banyarwanda into the society, into the Congolese society, and give the opportunity to excel, to become politically engaged, and to become a citizen of Congo for those who do not want to go back to their country. But our problem as indigenous is that the Banyarwanda cannot claim the Congolese of origin status based on their residency in the Congo, or in the Congo Free State, in the Belgium Congo, or in the Congo itself, because that was a special status for the indigenous who were living there before the explorers, before the colonial era. By the way, if we consider this law, which says by June 1960, we'll see that the Banyarwanda today have no reason to claim the right of Congolese of origin, because they came to Congo not before 1881, but after Rwabugiri took power in 1860. And not only after Rwabugiri took power in 1860, but after Rwabugiri started his military campaign against the West. The West here, I mean, the countries or the state that were outside on the west side of Lake Kivu and the Ruzizi River. Why I say that? I say that because before Rwabugiri could reach the west part of the lake, he had first to control the traditional principalities or states that were between the ancient or the ancient Central Kingdom of Rwanda, which was in the middle, where there is a Kigali today. Between Kigali and the border, the Lake Kivu, there were other principalities, traditional kingdoms, and so he had to conquer those kingdoms first before reaching the west part of the Ruzizi River and Lake Kivu, or the kingdom of Bashi, the kingdom of Bafulero, and the kingdom of Bafira. Those kingdoms were still independent. They were independent entities or states or territories or kingdoms. They were independent from the Central Kingdom of Rwanda. So Kigeri had to conquer them first. That's why when you read all the historians, Jacques de Pelchin or George West, David Newbury or Deforge, and Jean Vassina, you see that those territories or principalities that were along the what was called Lake Kivu Rift Valley, those kingdoms had to be annexed or conquered first by Rwabugiri before he could reach the kingdom of Bushi, the kingdom of Bafuliru, and the kingdom of Bavira. And what is interesting is that those kingdoms, those small kingdoms or states, were very strong, and many of them were annexed or conquered by Rwanda kings in the 20th centuries with the help of German and the help of Belgians. For example, we have the kingdom of Bukoi, the kingdom of Bigogwe, the kingdom of Kanage, the kingdom of Bushaza, the kingdom of Rusenyi, the kingdom of Itabire, the kingdom of Bushiru, the kingdom of Chesha, the kingdom of Buhoma, the kingdom of Impara, the kingdom of Murera, the kingdom of Kibari, the kingdom of Buhaha, the kingdom of Rwankeru, the kingdom of Biru, the kingdom of Mukunzi, the kingdom of Bukagarame, the kingdom of Bukiga, the kingdom of Buberuka, the kingdom of Ndiza, the kingdom of Marangara, the kingdom of Kabagari, the kingdom of Kingogo, the kingdom of Bunyambiriri, the kingdom of Bufundu, and the kingdom of Buyenzi. All these kingdoms were politically well established. So, if these population here, which were independent, did not cross into the Bashi, or into the territorial kingdom of the Bashi, or into the kingdom of the Bafuliru, or into the kingdom of the Bavira, if they did not cross into those kingdoms, when they were not Banyarwanda, the only time that remains by which the Banyarwanda now cross into these western kingdoms of the newly Congo or Congo Free State must have done it during the military campaign of Rwabugiri. Or King Rwabugiri, who reigned between 1860 to 1895, did not do it before 1880. He did it after 1880. And even after 1880, he did not do it because he did not conquer all the kingdoms that were present at that time. And when the population started running away from his military campaign, they were identified on the other side of the river and the lake as Banyarwanda. That means the time Rwabugiri and King Musinga became now the monarch of the whole territory that was now called the Rwanda, or the Kingdom of Rwanda, which the German found. That's when the population became the Banyarwanda. And that's when a great number of the Banyarwanda that we know today in Eastern Congo start crossing en masse into the territory that we know today as the DRC. But before that, we did not have the Tutsi and we did not have the Hutu. But now we have a man-made tribe. I repeat again, we have now a man-made tribe, the Tutsi. Now they want the community, the international community, to accept them as a tribe, entirely a different tribe from the Banyarwanda. And even if the international community accept them as a tribe, as separate tribe from the Hutu, only in Congo, but in Rwanda they remain the Banyarwanda. And when they go to Rwanda, they are Banyarwanda. When they come to United States or Canada or Europe, they are Tutsi from Congo. And to do so, they have to acquire a name, a traditional name, which they chose to be the name of Mulenge. If they do so, what will become the indigenous tribe of Bafuliru, with their traditional site, with their traditional hill, with their traditional name, with their traditional language. That's what we are trying to explain here. That they were not the Banyarwanda today who are advertising the name Mulenge. They are not from Mulenge. They are not Banyamulenge because they are not the descendant of the person Mulenge. They don't live in Mulenge. They have never had a kingdom called Mulenge. They did not come from Congo to Rwanda and then back to Congo, but they came from Rwanda. That's why they are called Banyarwanda. And that's why we see that when Mobutu enacted this law of 1971, it was to help them become a Congolese citizen from whatever time they came to 1960, because they were left out from the Constitution of 1964 and from the election law that was passed on May 1959, and before that, the Congolese Roundtable that took place between January and February 1960. So they were left out because they were not Congolese. And when the researchers, the historians, the scholars came to study the area, they discovered that there were some population that were living in Congo that were called by the name Rwanda or Banyarwanda. So, to go back to the Mobutu syndrome, Mobutu did not take away any Congolese nationality from the Banyarwanda. Rather, he gave them the opportunity to become Congolese. And he did that because another Tutsi, another Mnyarwanda, pushed him to do so, his chief of staff, Barthélemy Bisengimana Rwema. So that's the story that's behind the law of 1971. In the next clip, we're going to go ahead and then study the law of 1972. Because now in 1972, Mobutu again, with Bisengimana on his side, discovered that there were some population who were transplanted, were brought from Rwanda as economic immigrant to work into the mining, into the plantation, in the Kivu and in the Shaba, Tatanga. Those population by Rwanda were not included in the law of 1971. So he had to enact another law. But we will develop that in the next clip. But for now, I want you, my viewers, to consider this. Mobutu enacted the 1971 law to include the Banyarwanda that were left out by the Constitution of 1964 and the Congolese Roundtable of 1960 by the instigation of Barthélemy Rwema, who was his chief of staff and who was a Mnyarwanda born in Changugu in Rwanda. But the Banyarwanda today that are living in South Kivu, they live in the territory of Bafuliru, in the territory of Bavira, in the zone of Fizi, in the zone of Mwenga. And now they are claiming that in all those territories, they are all people from Mulenge. But imagine a little bit. We have different categories of Banyarwanda who came to Congo. From the 1881 to 1895, when King Robgir was killed, to 1917, when the Belgium attacked the Kingdom of Rwanda, to 1930, when King Musinga was relegated to Congo, which we know a king cannot run away by himself. He has to bring other people with him, subjects. We know that the population were transplanted in the Kivu, the two Kivus. in the 1936 to 45. We know that the population of Rwanda who ran away in the revolution of 1959 to the Kivu. We know there are others who came in the 1960s, and we know there are others who came in the 1972. But all of those came in Congo as Banyarwanda. Then slowly the Banyarwanda starts splitting. The Batusi now that are claiming to be a tribe start splitting. They want the international community to recognize them as a tribe by itself, not as Banyarwanda. But if we see the clans, all the clans, they have Banyarwanda, they have Batusi, Bahutu inside. And so now they want now to be recognized as a tribe by itself, a Tutsi tribe. But to do so, they have to expropriate a name, a local name, a traditional name, a traditional site from the Bafuliru. And the Bafuliru are not ready to do so. The Babembe are not ready to do so in their territory. The Barega are not ready to do so in their territory. All this to hide their pregnancy, to hide and control all the cattle, everything they have stolen from the Bafuliru and Bavira when they came in. Remember in the previous video, we showed how they stole the cattle that were given to them. Cattle that were deposited to them by the Bafuliru and Bavira, and they start moving toward the west part of the territory into the high plateau. Now they want those cattle not to go back to their owners. And for that reason, they have to be traditionally recognized as indigenous people. Unfortunately, they are using a name that the owners are not ready to let go, because that name is a traditional name. That name is linked to their tradition, to their language, to their culture, to their land, the kingdom of Bafuliru and the kingdom of Bavira. And today, they are telling you that Mulenge is no longer a hill, is no longer a village, but Mulenge is the whole region, which goes from Mwenga to Lake Tanganyika, a territory that takes almost beyond 300 kilometers. That's the story that the Banyarwanda are telling you now, that they are from Mulenge, and Mulenge means the territory of Uvira, the territory of Mwenga, the territory of Fizi. And later, they're going to annex it to Rwanda and become a Tutsi land. That's the story. So Mobutu, by enacting that law, was helping the individual that were called Banyarwanda to become Congolese citizen. But because of Barthélemy, he wanted to use a shortcut. But we know that for any nationality, any person who wants to become a citizen of a country have to follow the process. Amnesty is not an option for many countries. Even the developed countries, they fight, the population are fighting for any government or any administration that is trying to grant a community of people an amnesty. And so that's what Mobutu was doing. And when he changed again his law in 1972, and then the government broke that law in 1981, they became mad. But what we are doing is not to deny them nationality. They already have a nationality. But what they are doing, they want to expropriate a tradition of another people. And that people is not ready to do so. So we invite you to continue to analyze, study, do some more research about the time the Banyarwanda arrived. We show you all the states that were along the Kivu Rift Valley. They were between the central Rwanda, Kingdom of Rwanda. There was a small Kingdom of Rwanda that were controlled by the clan of the Nyiginya. So the first king, who is called by historians the architect of the Rwandan expansion, is called the Rwabugiri, and the Rwabugiri did not start that expansion and the military campaign until his late reign, which occurred between 1890, because he died in 1895. So his military campaign did not start until after the 1881. And these Banyarwanda today are claiming to be a tribe apart, separate from the Hutu, which is very incredible to see a people that are denying their own identity to create another one by stealing the tradition of another people. So thank you for tonight. We hope that we'll see you next time with clip 20BC, because this is clip 20B, and then next time we'll talk about clip BC, when we tackle the law of 1972 and develop that, and we'll see the category of population who came between before 1950, who were supposed to benefit from that law of 1950, and see if these Banyarwanda that are claiming today to be from Mulenge are also included in that group. So thank you again for watching. Hope to see you next time. Don't forget to analyze. Don't forget to review and share and make a comment. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.